Hey everyone, happy Friday night. If you are here in the same time zone as me, I guess, I always have to remind myself that everyone is all over the place and that we are not all experiencing even the same day at once, and that for some of you, it could be Saturday or it could be whatever. But for me, it is Friday night, so I am bringing the Friday night energy here to Instagram. I really knew that I wanted to come on and talk to y'all. I had no idea what I wanted to talk to y'all about, so I pulled an inquiry card. For any of you who has been around here for a while, you know that I love the inquiry deck, and so I pulled an inquiry card, and the question that came up for us to talk through was, what can I experience more fully? And so, as you can see, this card is like super bent and gross, and it's because I pull this one a lot, and I love this one, and I wanted us to actually talk about coming back alive into your business. So everyone who's had a business for a while, this is actually my 5th year of business, which is crazy. It is the anniversary of my business today, and so we are actually, technically this is our 4th anniversary, and the 5th year will begin tomorrow. Super wild. But in honor of all of that, I was thinking about the different lessons that I've learned and putting together an email to write to my list, which will be out at some point this week. But really what came through to focus on was just the ebbs and flows of business and how you can experience those more fully, as the card says, but really how you can let that be okay. And what I mean is that there are going to be ups and downs in your income if you're a business owner. There are going to be ups and downs in your mood. There are going to be lulls in how many clients you have from time to time. There are going to be moments where you are really inspired and you're super creative and you know exactly what you're doing and you can plan out a whole year worth of launches and you feel like you've got content for days. And there are going to be moments when you wake up and you have no idea what to say online and you just feel a sense of obligation that you should be saying something, but you really have nothing new to say. And that's all okay. Like, over these past 4 years, I have experienced so many emotions around my business. I have experienced so many different realities. I've had launches sell out early. I've had launches sell out on the last day. I've had launches where nobody bought. I've had everything in between. And truly, what I've come to realize in these 4 years is that it's all okay. We don't need to disassociate from any of it. And the question we should be asking ourselves, as the card invited us to, is what can we experience more fully? And so if you're listening to this and you're in business, especially if you've been in business and you're really committed to your business, so this isn't necessarily for someone who has like a side gig but you're not really taking it seriously. This is for the person who, this is your thing, this is what you could see yourself doing forever, and you are so committed and it means the world to you and it's like you're all in on it. If you're in that place and you are looking to deepen your relationship with your business, you're looking to have more fun in your business, you're looking to feel more connected to it, you're looking for it to be more fulfilling, start experiencing every inch of it and start really soaking in that and loving that for what it is. And so an example of this could be, if you're in a period where you don't have as many clients maybe as you want, and you are just, in your feels about it, and you're wondering what you can do to get the client numbers up, and it's starting to stress you out a bit, instead of continuing to focus on how you can change what's going on, start to pivot and ask yourself, how can I actually just sink in to this moment? And this actually happened to me. I was in a period where I didn't have as many clients as I wanted. I didn't have as many things going on. My business didn't feel as dynamic as I knew it could feel and as it had felt in the past. And I decided to really take that time. Of course, there was like feelings about it. I'm not going to pretend like I didn't feel anything. I actually fully experienced, going back to the card, I fully experienced how I felt about that. And I had a coach at the time, and my coach and I were talking about how frustrating it was to feel like I had so much in me and so much to give and not as many people as I wanted to give it to. And we were processing all of this, right? And through all of that, I let myself just fully experience the fact that I cared a lot, that I did know that I have a lot of value to give, that I was really on fire for my mission and for everything that I have to say to y'all and for everything that I wanted to contribute to the planet. And I let myself really soak in those feelings, not just the feelings of frustration of like, oh my God, there's no one here, or there's not quote unquote enough people here, or there's not the numbers that I expected, or the numbers have gone down, or whatever. Like, I let myself experience those feelings, but where I landed was, oh, this means the world to me. It matters to me a lot that I don't have as many people as I want to have to share this with. And that means a lot to me, not necessarily, and this is something else that I can even go deeper into later, not even because I feel like my clients are my source of income, because at that point I had really detached from that and I was fully on board with I am my source, God is my source, and I've seen that just through and through, time and time again. And so I wasn't at the point of, what am I going to do about money? But I was really at the point of, I have this fire, I have this passion, I have this gift, and I want to share it. And it is my calling, and I know that of all the things I could be doing on the planet, this is my thing. And so with that certainty and that like conviction of like, this is my thing, I know that this is my thing, I just let myself feel that gap between the level of fulfillment that I knew I wanted and the perceived like lack of people there to receive my gifts. And I let that sit and I let myself be in that. And I was in that for like weeks, maybe. Let's say I was definitely in that for like weeks. It could have been a month, but I was in that and I let myself feel that and like, and know that I wasn't serving at the level I wanted to be serving, and know that I wasn't contributing the way that I knew I was capable of. And honestly, what came out of that was so special, because at this time I was in a Instagram hiatus, and I knew in that moment, after I let myself feel that feeling for weeks, that I wanted to get back on Instagram because I had something to say. And because no matter, people are going to sign up for stuff, people aren't going to sign up for stuff. I'm not here to like micromanage that. But what I can control, what is within my power and my agency, is whether or not I get online and say what I know I need to say to the people. And so I started to get back online. I started to share more posts. I started to really take it upon myself to create incredible free content. And before this, I was doing free content. My relationship with free content has really evolved over the years. But there's something that happened when I let myself really feel the passion, the fire, the message, and this sense that I didn't have the people to share it with. I let myself be in that. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's why I am going to create incredible free content. That's what free content is for. The purpose of free content, which I think this is important because every business, mentor, business coach is going to talk about this differently, but this is the way that I talk about it. And if you resonate with that, then, take it and let it be your own. I believe at this point in business that the purpose of free content is to share and shout your message from the rooftops and to scratch that itch you feel. Like anyone who has like a calling, like you understand, you have this itch, you have this thing that you want to talk about and you want to talk about it every day and you wish you had more people to talk about it with. Those people are online. Those people are on Instagram or on YouTube or wherever you run your business from. Those people are online, and you can find people who will talk about the thing that you care most to talk about, and you can talk about it with them online. And so that's when I really started to dedicate myself, like I said, incredible free content. I'm going to pour my heart into my free content. My free content is going to be mind-blowing. It's going to create breakthroughs for people. And I started to really think about the ways that I had been impacted by powerful free content, podcasts and YouTube channels and all the things that really meant the world to me. And I just let it get really big in my head, and I let myself get really excited about it, and I started posting on Instagram 3 times a day. Like, that's literally what happened. And I let that be really fun. Like, I let it be this cool thing I was doing where I had a message and I was going to tell everyone what I needed to say, and it was just going to be like, this is my calling. This is me expressing myself. This is me fulfilling my purpose. And I stopped caring so much about who was signing up for what. And I woke up every day knowing I get to go online and be who I am and share my voice and share my message. And I was so much more fulfilled. And I was just so much more excited. And I was so much more expressed. And of course, the client numbers went up, but it wasn't even like I was doing it so the client numbers would go up. I was doing it because I was never going to let myself again get to a place where I felt like people signing up or not signing up had the power to determine whether or not I was sharing my gifts, which is how I was feeling previously. And so I'm really happy that we went through this example, because when you think about experiencing something fully, the way that it was taught to me from an emotional processing standpoint, I attribute this to my breathwork teacher, Michelle Diavella, but it could not be from her, but it feels like something she would say. Basically, this idea that when you're experiencing an emotion and you let it get as big as it can get, it will pass through you and it will transform into something else. And this was Michelle, because Michelle, especially in those days, she was really teaching about how emotions change into other emotions, like how anger changes into sadness, and how, all these things, they shapeshift, they transform, they become other things. And so when you let yourself fully feel how you feel at any given time, it will morph into the next feeling that's available to you, and then it will morph again. And that's really how you move through life. Like, that's an option. You could move through life really repressed and disassociated and not feeling your feelings. And I think that's why people get on autopilot. And I think, honestly, that's why people do the same year over and over again. I think that's why people feel stuck in a rut. I think that's why people get stagnant and don't grow, is because they're so committed to only experiencing certain things and not experiencing other things, and they cut themselves off. And people do this both ways. Let it be known. There are some people who say, I'm cutting myself off from any feeling that feels uncomfortable. And there are some people that say, I'm cutting myself off from any feeling that feels comfortable. And they refuse to feel joy. And they refuse to be at peace. And they refuse to be excited or to anticipate anything with, excitement and to be looking forward to something. They refuse to acknowledge anything happy. And I'm saying this because, people do it either direction. It's not a judgment on people who can't be sad or on people who don't feel their pain. I actually think the bigger problem is when people don't feel their joy. And the reason why I say that, and this is actually taking us in a nice direction in terms of what can you experience more fully, I think people put joy on such a pedestal and make it untouchable and feel like they can only access it when they have quote unquote earned it, or when some external thing has given them permission to access joy. You can actually access joy any minute of any day. You don't need an external circumstance to give you permission to feel joyful. And once you realize that, you actually become this unstoppable force. I can't even describe. And for any of you who've been through this, you understand. You become literally unstoppable when it dawns on you and when you internalize the fact that you are the one who can give yourself permission to access joy. You can put it in the trophy case, but you have the key, and you can go at any point and open it and let yourself feel joy. It's like opening a door to your heart and just letting the joy come in and letting the joy hang out, and knowing that when the joy leaves, you can invite it back in and it can hang out again. And what if that was okay? What if you could let yourself find joy literally daily? And what if finding joy could happen hourly? And what if finding joy could happen as soon as you noticed that you had fallen out of joy? What if joy got to not be something on a pedestal, but what if you normalized it to the point where you were feeling it like most of the time? What if you were joyful most of the time? Like, just sit with that. Someone needed that. I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but it needed to be said. What if you were joyful most of the time? And now when we bring this back to business, what if you were joyful during the ebbs and flows? What if you were in a season where you were between sales? You know, maybe someone bought 2 weeks ago and that was the last time someone signed up for anything, and you're between sales, but you were joyful majority of the time those whole 2 weeks. And what if the eventual sign up that came next, what if someone signed up again and your joy was not actually dependent on when that happened? What if you could be joyful for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks? What if you could just be joyful the whole time? And then when the person signed up, you were joyful. When a couple weeks went by, a couple days went by, time went by and no one signed up, you were joyful. What if you could channel that joy however you wanted to? So when the person signed up, you channeled your joy towards that experience. And when no one signed up for something, you channeled your joy towards a different thing that was going on, because I guarantee you there's always something in your life that you can channel joy towards. But do you see how there's a difference when you have the joy and you are channeling it outwards versus external thing has the joy and you need to get it from the outside? Like, what if you didn't need to get joy from sales? What if you didn't need to get joy from testimonials? What if you didn't need to get joy from the number of people on your email list going up? What if you didn't need to get joy from anything outside of you? What if you had it already and you could channel it however you wanted? What if you could channel joy towards, oh, someone signed up, that's exciting, I feel joy, and I channel it in that direction. Oh, my email list now has 100 more people, that's exciting, I channel my joy in that direction. But it's my joy and I can put it wherever I want. Do you understand this? Is this landing? I really hope it is, because once this lands for you, everything changes. And this is really, I think, the conversation that this card wanted us to have, was that once you let yourself fully experience joy and make it unconditionally available to you, it does not matter what else is happening. What if you could look at the numbers in your bank account and feel joy regardless of what they said? What if the numbers were not the source of joy? What if the numbers did not dictate your joy? What if your joy was just your joy? And then you looked at the numbers, and then you might channel some joy towards the numbers. You might channel some joy in a different direction, but you always had the joy and you could decide whether to channel it or whether not to. What if? Like, how would that feel? How would life look for you? How would your day-to-day life feel? If you could look at your numbers every day, you could log into Stripe or PayPal every day, and no matter what the numbers said, you felt joy. Every day. And this is where I differ from a lot of the manifestation coaches out there. So for anyone who's new to me, I do business coaching and I do manifestation coaching, and it kind of, it intermingles in the sense that the business coaching always includes some talk about spirituality and co-creation, but the manifestation coaching is usually more general. But the reason I bring this up is because this is where I differ from certain other people, because I don't actually believe there's a feeling associated with external results. I think we map feelings onto external results, but I don't think they're inherent. I don't think, and I can say this with certainty actually, because this has been my lived experience, but it also, like, if you think about this for yourself, you understand. I don't think, let's pick a result, 5 people bought something today. I don't think 5 sales has an inherent feeling. You know why? Because if you have 5 sales, but you expected 10, you might feel kind of down on yourself, or down about life, or down about business, or down about humanity. I don't know, wherever your brain goes. But if you had 5 sales and you expected 0, you're feeling great. You're feeling on top of the world. Now, what does that mean about 5 sales? That means 5 sales doesn't actually mean anything when it comes to your emotions. 5 sales is 5 sales. Your emotions are your emotions. They are what they are, but they don't depend on the numbers. Like, the numbers actually do not dictate how you feel. So just let that sink in too. And just let go. Just let go of the idea that the way you feel is determined by what other people do or don't do. And that's deep, and that's a discussion to be had at a different time. But for the sake of business, let go of the idea that how you feel depends on, oh, someone said my price is too high, or someone didn't pay their payment plan, or someone asked me for a refund, or 10 people bought this thing I'm launching, or a private client came out of nowhere and bought my biggest package, or my, favorite client ever just renewed. Like, what if all of that was cool and neutral, and then you could map your own emotion onto it if you chose? Because truly that's what's happening. It just happens so fast that you don't realize it. And I hope that people are really taking this seriously, because when you get this, everything changes. When you get this, your experience of business becomes so much more fun, and it feels so much lighter, and all of the things that feel so heavy and so stressful and so confusing, they just evaporate. They melt away. When you can start to see that everything that's happening in your business is neutral, and you are mapping your emotions onto it, and you can choose. You don't have to chase anything. You don't have to undercharge. You don't have to, cater to and pander to what you think your community wants from you, even if it's not something that you actually want to provide. You don't have to look around outside of yourself and see what other people are doing and see how it's working for them. And then that's going to make decisions on whether or not you're going to try something that you really want to try. None of that matters. Do you see how none of that matters? It means nothing. When you realize everything that happens in your business is completely neutral, you are mapping your own feelings onto it, you decide what feelings you map onto certain experiences, and what you do is completely up to you. You doing a strategy that does not feel good, that is draining, that is creatively taxing, that just doesn't make sense for the way that your brain works, you doing that in and of itself is you choosing to feel badly in your business. Do you understand that? You doing something that does not feel good is you choosing that your business isn't going to feel good. I'm just going to let that sit for a second. I feel like someone needed that too, because once that clicks for you, you make choices a whole lot differently. You charging a price that feels too low is you deciding to not feel well compensated for your work. Just let that sit, because that's what it is. You're not deciding so much about the price. You're deciding how your business is going to feel. And how do you know you're charging too low? Easy answer. You feel it in your body. When that payment comes through, how do you feel? Does it feel congruent? Does it feel like, oh yes, this makes sense. I'm super excited. I'm going to go above and beyond. I'm going to do my best work. Or does it feel like, oh my God, I have to do so much work and this is the amount I'm getting paid? How does it feel? And even for something that doesn't require work of you, if you have a pre-recorded, a course that you did a couple years ago, or that you did, in the past and now you're selling it. When you think about what that course provides for someone, and then you think about what you're getting back, does it feel like a congruent exchange? So if you have a program that really, everything in it, those principles changed your life. When you learned those things that you teach in that course, everything shifted for you. You got on your highest timeline and you were really like living your best life, being your best self. And then you put a price on that does not reflect the true value of that program. Really, this has nothing to do with how much work is involved. It's just you understand the transformation power of the work. You put a price that does not actually speak to the transformation power at all whatsoever. Someone pays you and you're like, I'm giving you my best work. I'm giving you my journey, my calling, like everything I have, and you're going to pay me what? How much? That's no. And you can feel that. Like, I wish more people had conversations with themselves like this, because this is actually you being in the driver's seat of your business and deciding, this is how my business gets to feel. This is how it gets to feel when I make money. I had a client once who was doing a sliding scale, and this is not about sliding scales, but my one tip about sliding scales is always have, if you are going to do it, which it's up to you, right? But if you're going to do a sliding scale, the lowest price needs to be congruent. The lowest price cannot be below what you're willing to feel good about, because you might be in an experience where everyone pays the lowest price and then you still feel undercompensated because you did not charge properly. So get a habit going of like, what is the congruent number here? And Powerful Pricing Paradigms is my workshop where I walk you through a really like comprehensive meditation and a process for feeling your congruent number, if that's something that you don't have a lot of experience doing. But so, you can check that out if you want to. But the main thing I'm trying to say here is, if you're doing a sliding scale, make sure that the lowest item, the lowest number, is a congruent number. Do not undercharge. Don't use a sliding scale as an excuse to undercharge. That's all I'm trying to say. If you want to do a sliding scale, do it, but don't use it as an excuse to undercharge, because the point of this is, I had a client, now we're back around. I had a client who did a sliding scale, and they were like, I'm doing this, and let's just say, I don't remember the exact numbers, but let's just say they were like, I want 20 people, but I want the average price they pay to be the middle price. And I was like, okay, okay, cool. And they didn't get that. They got 20 people, but the average price was below the average. People did not all pay at the lineup that this person wanted. And so they still left it feeling like, oh, I didn't get what I wanted. And it's like, well, you undercharged. And so I don't even remember where I was going with this, but I think that's just a story that someone needed to hear, because I'm sure some of y'all are out here doing your sliding scales and you need to realize that, like, oh, here we go. You're deciding to make your sense of fulfillment conditional if you do something like that. If you set it up such that it's possible for me to have partial credit, basically partial results. Like, even if I get 20 people, I still might not be happy because I want all 20 of those people to pay this certain price, but I'm also making it possible for people to pay less than that, and then I'm upset when they do. Like, that's too much. That's convoluted. That is micromanaging. And so if you decide that you want to run your business in such a way where you have to micromanage the choices of other people, that will reflect onto you, and you are going to be the one feeling those feelings at the end of the day. The people who bought the thing at the lower price that wasn't congruent, they don't know one way or the other. They just see the price and they pick the price that they want to pay. It really has nothing to do with you, but you are going to be the one feeling about it later. You are going to be the one on the phone with your coach saying, oh, I didn't get what I wanted, right? Like, that's going to be your experience. The client is not affected one way or the other. And so it's just something to think about, right? Because I want you to get to the point, everyone listening to this, I want you to get to the point where your business feels the way you want it to feel, where it feels joyful, where it feels peaceful, where it feels easy, where it feels simple, where it feels fun. But in order for you to get to that place, you have to make choices that feel that way along the way. You have to make choices that feel joyful, simple, easy, fun, exciting, whatever. You have to make choices that feel that way, and those choices add up, and then the compound effect of all those choices is your business. And maybe that's it too, is like your business is actually the compound effect of all the choices you make about your business. And so if you make a choice here that feels icky, and a choice here that feels misaligned, and a choice here that you're like, well, I wouldn't make this choice if I was getting more sales, but I have to make this choice now. Like, if you make choices that don't feel good, your business will not feel good. And I know that's like revolutionary, right? But like, think about it. For anyone who might be listening to this on the podcast, I was being sarcastic. I understand that's not revolutionary at all. But I want you to actually sit with it as if it was. Because a lot of you are making day-to-day choices in your business as if those don't matter, as if they're temporary, as if one day you'll wake up and suddenly have the courage to do the business that you want to do. And I'm telling you right now, you're not going to magically wake up with a full roster of clients and all your programs sold out and suddenly now I have permission to do it the way I want to. You have to do it the way you want to now. You have to do it the way you want to now, or you will be resentful, you will be unfulfilled, and you will consistently be waiting. Like, your joy will always be in this trophy case in the future on a pedestal, you know? And I really wanted to have this conversation with y'all because I want you to know that you deserve better than that you are better than that, and that truly no one is waiting for you to wake up and live the life you want to live and run the business you want to run. You have to be the one to decide. You're the only one affected by that. And that's a realization that I had recently, is like, I'm the only one affected by what my prices are. I'm the only one affected by how I structure my programs. I'm the only one affected by the payment plan options I create. I'm the only one affected by how I navigate it when there's slow periods. I'm the only one affected by how I hold it when something sells out early. I'm the only one affected by any of this. It's me. It's only me. And when I say I'm the only one affected, this doesn't mean that, like, obviously I have a team. Obviously my clients are connected to my business and they're impacted, whatever. But what I mean by I'm the only one affected is in here, like, emotionally, I'm the only one affected. Emotionally, I am the only one feeling as a result of the way that I've chosen to do things. And when that landed for me, I started to show up a lot differently. And for any of you who've been following me for years, I showed up a lot differently in the beginning. I've gone through evolutions, right? I've gone through phases. I was reading some copy that I wrote 6 months ago for the Moody and Magnetic launch that happened. Actually, it was way more like a year ago. 9 months ago, whatever. I did a Moody and Magnetic launch last spring, and I was reading the copy and I was working on it with my coach, and she was like, I don't even know what to make of this. This is not the Samara that I know. And I was like, honestly, you're right. Honestly, you're right. Like, the way that I write is very different. The way that I carry myself, the energy that I put out, it's different. A lot has shifted for me, but that's because I had these realizations that, like, I'm the one living with the results of all of my choices in a way that no one else is. Like, I carry all of this. And so if I'm carrying all of this and I'm the main one affected by all of this, I have to do it in the way that serves me, or I'm not going to be able to do it for very long.